Alright, this is John Cole with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and I'm cherry rich today. What we have are some fresh cherries here, grown in the state of Washington. And what I'm going to do with you guys today is share with you guys the best juicer to juice cherries if you want to juice cherries with the pits in. So first I need to give you guys my disclaimers, alright? Disclaimer number one, I only encourage you guys to eat organic cherries whenever you can afford it, right? Non-organic cherries are in the dirty dozen list, and they may have lots of different pesticide sprays on them. That being said, if you guys can't afford organic cherries, right, non-organic cherries, you know, they could be a lot better than many other things you guys eat. If you guys eat ho-hos, ding-dongs, drink a soda, you know, have like, I don't know, chips and crackers and a lot of canned processed foods with a lot of different additives, right? Fresh cherries, even if they're conventional and they have some pesticide residues, are far better than most other foods you guys can be eating. Alright, so that's number one. Number two is I encourage you guys, if you are wanting to juice the cherries, to only juice organic, because when you juice in the organic, you may be concentrating some of the, you know, pesticides that are in there. And if you are going to juice cherries, like, don't juice cherries each and every day, because you might get too much of any kind of buildup of the pesticides in the conventional cherries that you guys are eating. Okay, that's number two. Number three is that, man, I don't even encourage you guys to juice the cherries. I mean, you guys can juice whatever you guys want. I'm going to show you guys how to do it if you guys want to do it. But I'll tell you guys this. I rarely, if ever, juice cherries, right? I would rather just pick them up and eat them straight. They're so delicious to eat. I don't know why you'd want to juice them unless maybe you can't chew or something, right? By far, our teeth are the best juices in the whole planet. You don't really even need to buy juice. So the problem is people are lazy and don't use their teeth properly to chew everything into mush. It's pretty easy to chew cherries into mush, a lot more difficult to chew something like carrots, spinach, and kale into mush, and that's why I really like the juicing. And the main benefit of the juicing to me is for juicing the vegetables to get a much higher levels of vegetables in you, especially the leafy greens. You know, we don't really need to be juicing fruit, but hey, juicing some non-organic cherries is way better in my opinion than drinking a soda, you know, and a lot of different carbonated beverages that have a lot of extra added sugar. At least the sugar in the cherries is natural sugar, as well as in the cherries there's also many other different phytonutrients and phytochemicals, including these special anthocyanins, which are responsible for the pigment and also many amazing health benefits contained within them. Alright, the next disclaimer I want to give you guys, I know you guys are thinking, John, get into the juicing already. The next disclaimer I want to give you guys is actually, I do not recommend you guys juicing cherries with the pits in. Although I'm going to do it in this video, and I'm going to share with you guys the juicers I'm using and why I'm using them in a minute. I don't recommend you guys juicing cherries with the pits in. They can be very hard on most all juicers and break your juicer. So if you want to juice cherries, the best way to do it is to remove the pits. That being said, I just took the stems off all these cherries, over 4 pounds of cherries, and I'm not about to sit here and now deep hit each one, because that's a pain in the you-know-what. So that's why I like these two machines to juice the cherries that we're going to get into in a minute. So let's get into the juicing finally, since I've given you guys my disclaimers. Number one, I encourage you guys to get organic cherries whenever you guys can. Two, conventional cherries are probably healthier than most any other things you guys could be eating. I do recommend you guys to eat the cherries instead of juice them. I do encourage you guys to wash the conventional cherries really well. You know, these guys were washed for a total of 20 minutes. These are conventional cherries, since I didn't want to waste like 4 pounds of regular organic cherries in the juicers today, because I'd rather eat them, right? These conventional cherries were only 99 cents a pound. It's an amazing deal, and I'm going to get some good cherry juice, and after washing them through basically a fit produce wash, spraying them down, letting them soak in, rubbing them in for about 2 minutes, then these guys went into my ultrasonic cleaner that produces ozone and vibrates them ultrasonically to like get it all clean. So they're pretty clean now. But still, they probably contain some residues, because not all the residues are on the outside. Some of them seep into the inside, and plus if these were treated with some kind of wax on the outside, the wax might be locking in the pesticides that you just can't literally get out. But yeah, I don't want you guys to be scared of the pesticides. I want you guys to do the best you guys can. And if eating conventional cherries is all you guys could afford, all you guys could get, you know, hey, anytime fruits and vegetables, fresh fruits and vegetables are still far better than any other processed food, because other processed foods also probably contain, you know, especially if they're conventional, pesticides and residues. But along with the fruits and vegetables you're eating that have the pesticide residues, they contain so many other beneficial qualities as well. So basically the only kind of juicer I recommend you guys use to juice cherries with the pits in are vertical single auger juicers, right? Those are the ones that can do it. Doesn't mean they will do it without breaking, right? I've selected today two of my favorite juicers on the market at this time, the Omega VSJ 843, which is actually my favorite, and then its sister or brother is the Omega MMV700. This is the wide mouth feed chute, 3-inch wide mouth feed chute on this machine. These are both vertical single augers. This one has a much smaller feed chute, but that's not really going to concern us too much in this video. And how these guys work and why these guys specifically juice cherries when other machines won't is that basically the cherry goes inside this machine and this auger is spinning around. As it's spinning around, it's so powerful enough to basically crack the cherry pit. The auger and the juicing screen in these Omega juicers are made out of the GE Ultimate material, though. They're 8 times harder than the plastic on some other machines, especially those cheap imported machines. They may not be using the Ultimate material, in which case the minute you put the first cherry in, you're going to break your screen, which is definitely not going to be fun, because probably if your juicer is made in China, you're not going to be able to get parts for it, and basically you got a disposable juicer on your hands you got to throw out. So that, for that reason, I do encourage you guys to get a good, well-made machine. And on that note, the Omega VSJ over on this side has a full 15-year warranty, right? The MMV over on this side has a full 10-year warranty. And, you know, I want to say something about the warranties real quick is, you know, a lot of other vertical juicers have long warranties, 10 years on many of them. And some of the other juicers we sell at Discount Juicers, I don't recommend those for cherries because some of the manufacturers don't want to warranty their juicer against juicing cherries like I'm going to show you, because they are afraid that it's going to break. Omega is confident in their warranty that they will cover it if you juice the cherries properly, and they could tell if you juice them properly, right? We're not just going to take this whole bin of cherries and dump them down the 3-inch wide feed chute. No, 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 you can't juice them like that. That is surely going to be the wrong way to juice cherries, and you will damage your juicer, and it will not be covered under warranty. But if you juice the cherries like I'm going to show you guys in a minute, you take one cherry, drop it down each of the machines, and let the machine crunch up the pit, then the machine's going to work fine, and then and only then will you put in the next one. So this is going to take me quite a bit of time because I'm juicing one cherry at a time, but that being said, it's going to still take me far less time than if I had to de-pit these cherries like some other people on YouTube have de-pitted the cherries and then juiced them in a juicer, right? If you do want to, you know, press the cherry juice, generally the best juicers for fruits are the cold press juicers, you know, such as a Juicero, the Pure Juice Press, the Norwalk, the Juicer. Those styles generally do fruits really well, although, you know, the pits may damage those machines as well, so you got to remove them. But that being said, you know, I prefer to use a machine like this that actually has a stainless steel screen in there, because I believe you're going to actually get more higher nutritional content out of it, because those press style machines, you're usually pressing in a pressed cloth and you're leaving nutrients behind in the pressed cloth. Alright, so I guess with that, what I want to do for you guys today is we got even amounts of cherries in each of these pitchers here, and we're going to juice them one at a time. This is going to take a little bit of time. We're going to go ahead and set up my stopwatch, and we're going to see how long it actually takes me. Now before I get this going, I want to just demonstrate how to do this because most of this video is going to be in fast forward mode. We're just going to go ahead and turn this on and juice a few cherries in each machine. Alright, over on the VSJ 843 side, we'll turn this on, take one cherry, drop it in, listen. Hear that crunch? That's when it crunched up the seed, and now you're ready for the next cherry. Oops. So you're not going to like pour the whole bunch in, you got to wait for each one to get cracked up and then dump the next one in. So this is going to take a little bit of time, but as you guys can see, it's working great. And as you guys can see, we're getting some of the delicious, dark, rich, purple, red, anthocyanin-rich juice out. Alright, so we juiced a bunch in there. As you guys saw, it worked totally great. I think we're waiting for this last one to get crunched up there. Alright, next to the Omega MMV700. Show you guys how this one works on the cherries. Drop a few in there. Alright, so this is where the 3-inch wide feed chute is not really an advantage, because if you, oh, I got a 3-inch wide feed chute, John, I could dump in like 10 cherries at once or dump them all in. No, you're probably guaranteed to actually break your juicer. This is the only way you should be juicing these cherries, is one at a time until the pit cracks. Now, the other thing I want to tell you guys is any other stone fruit, which includes peaches and nectarines, you got to remove the pits if you want to juice those guys. And honestly, they juice best with some vegetables like carrots. So as you guys can see, this juicer is also working. It's literally crushing up the seeds and putting out all the seed pulp in there. Now, some people say there's like cyanide in the seeds of the cherries and you shouldn't eat them. You know, I want to encourage you guys to do your own research, but this is my belief. My belief is that, you know, in the form that they're in, they're not toxic. Most of the seed pulp is coming out, so you're not going to be drinking a lot of it. And if you are drinking some of it, I personally don't believe that's a problem. The seeds also may contain a B17, which is actually the cyanide compounds, which may be anti-cancer according to some of the research I've seen. So I'm alright with it, but that being said, I don't juice cherries every day. This is the first time this summer season I even juiced cherries, and probably the last, because most of the time I just enjoy the cherries and spit out the pits. Alright, so you guys can see both machines juice the cherries excellently. I'll put links down below to both these machines if you want to purchase them. I would. I mean, each of these machines have their pros and cons. I'll also put a link down below where I compare these machines in detail side by side for you guys. But what I want to do next is actually juice these cherries, show you guys how long it takes to juice. It's like over 2 pounds of cherries. It's like 2771 grams, I think, were in each one. Alright, so let's hit the start and let's just go ahead and turn on both juicers, and I'm going to juice 1 cherry in each one. And we'll just do this fast forward style so you don't have to sit through it. Alright, so I'm just about done juicing all these cherries. I have exactly 1 cherry left on each machine. Once again, you want to have a nice, slow, and calm pace. Let each machine crack up each cherry and then wait a few seconds before dropping the next one in. As you guys can see, man, that took a total of 12 minutes to juice my cherries. Definitely some investment in time. I mean, that's why I recommend you guys eating your cherries. It definitely would be a lot better. So then the last thing is, once you put the last cherry in, let the machine run a little bit longer, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, because juice is still dripping out of the machine. Once it's been run a little while, you could go ahead and turn it off. And then I encourage you guys, you know, to tip the machine up, get a few extra drips out. And then you could put your spout down. Now I want to show you guys actually the insides of the machines, to show you guys what happened inside there. So inside the machine here, you guys can see it's pretty clean on that one, pretty clean on that one. Inside, if we take out these augers here, look at the auger on the VSJ 843, it's virtually clean. And the auger over on the MMV700, let me go ahead and pull this out. It's a bit more harder to pull out here. Alright, that's pretty clean as well. Underneath the augers, if you guys look, there is a little bit of pulp in the VSJ auger, not any pulp underneath the MMV auger. Finally, I want to show you guys the screens. Both these screens inside here pretty much don't have any you know, major amount of cherry pulp or residue. And you know, this is how they look if you juice cherries properly, right? I put 1 at a time in. You know, it is going to definitely exert some stress on the screen, but it's not going to damage the screen. If you put in like 2 at once, 3 at once, 4 at once, you know, dump the whole bunch in there, it's definitely going to cause too much pressure on the screen and your screen will break. Omega will know if you do this, because they'll see some of the stress mark cracks in the machine. Because if you juice cherries properly like I demonstrate, you're not going to have any problems with your screen. If you do bury your screen with cherries, probably doing something not so good. That being said, cherries is not something you guys should be juicing each and every day, and these are home juicers. If you want to juice cherries once, twice a year, hey, great. But if you're like a commercial cherry orchard and expecting to use these for juicing cherries, forget about it. These are not the right machines for you. Hopefully I'll have a video on the right machine for juicing cherries commercially. Anyways, what I want to do next for you guys is actually go ahead and we're going to compare the yields and see which one of these two Omega juicers is the king of juicing the cherries because they made more juice. Let's go ahead and give you guys a close-up and see which juicer made more yield. So just looking at it side by side straight off, you could see the VSJ made more yield. This doesn't surprise me so much. The VSJ generally does better with the fruits than the MMV. So over on this side, looks like we got pretty much a little bit above 525 milliliters. And over on this side, looks like we got about, wow, look at that. Is that 750 milliliters approximately. So wow, that's pretty significant. 225 more milliliters in the VSJ. So what did we learn with the yield? Well, the VSJ is more efficient than the MMV. I think when I did a juice off between these two machines, the VSJ won by a little bit, but that was with vegetables. But with fruits, the choice is clear. The VSJ really did significantly better on the cherry juice. Now I want to take a look at the pulps here for you guys. Here's the pulp over on the MMV. Look at that. Put out a lot of pulp. And if you guys look in there, I mean, there's like literally juice within the pulp. And if you look at the VSJ pulp, significantly less volume of pulp. And it looks to be a lot more dry, actually. And this is the reason why the VSJ did a lot better. It's just a more efficient machine that I've found in my times using it. Of course, you know, the big feed chute's nice if you're juicing a lot of apples and tomatoes and pears and nice large fruits. You can just dump in there whole. Hey, that's going to save you some time. But depending on what you're juicing, it may end up costing you some yield. Now, the last few things I wanted... I always like to do the pulp squeeze test. It's going to be difficult on this because this is so, like, mushy, gushy. It's quite interesting. All right, pulp squeeze test. I mean, basically... I can't squeeze out any juice because this pulp is like super wet and it's not like gushy. But basically, if I come in here and try to feel this pulp around, this pulp on the MMV is a lot wetter. Over on the VSJ, basically, it has the crunched up seeds and then a fairly dry pulp. Yeah, if you press this, you could get some more juice out, but it's fairly dry already. So yeah, really impressive on the results, and that's why. If you want to juice fruits in a vertical single auger, I do recommend the VSJ. It's the best one that I found, as well as make things like nut milks. When making nut milks, I blend the nuts in the water up in the blender first, then pour through the machine. I find that the VSJ is the most efficient at wringing out the pulp the driest and getting you guys the most nut milks. My favorite is the coconut milk. So one of the next things I want to say is talk about other juicers that can juice cherries. Yes, you could absolutely remove the pits and they could be juiced in most juicers. A juicer that is commonly used for juicing cherries is a steam juicer, where they actually don't juice them raw. They actually heat them up to a high temperature to extract all the liquid under a heat environment. And most juices that you would buy in the store are heat processed in this way. And unfortunately, when you do that, you lose all the enzyme activity in the juice that you're creating, which I think is very valuable to us. In addition, you're also losing all the microbiome, the beneficial bacteria that may be contained within the fruit. On the flip side, you're also killing all the bad bacteria. Hopefully your cherries, don't have any bad bacteria on them, and if they're not grown using manure and they don't have bad growing practices, they shouldn't have any bad microbiome. But the properties of the microbiome and the beneficial bacteria are really important for our health, in my opinion. And the other thing that you're going to be losing a lot of are some of the beneficial antioxidants when you're heating the juice to make it. And that's why I like the slow juicing method that I showed you guys today, because you're going to maximize these different phytonutrients and phytochemicals, that many of which are heat sensitive and will be reduced. That being said, hey, drinking 100% cherry juice that's been heat processed is still better than drinking a soda. But of course, I want to encourage you guys to do the best you guys can, and you guys could now make your own fresh cherry juice at home using fresh organic cherries to have the highest health benefits. All right, last thing I want to do is we're going to try some of this. So here's some of the juice from the VSJ. nice consistency. This is not super thin. Like if you juice these cherries in a press style machine, the Pure Juicer, the Norwalk Juicer, Juicero, if you're able to get cherries in there, or the juicer, you know, it's gonna be more like water. This is a nice thick consistency, more like a, not like a puree, but more like a nectar. Definitely some good mouthfeel, man. Definitely tastes interesting. I tasted cherries in there. This is not a super sweet drink by any means. Alright, next, checking out the juice on the MMV. The juice seems to be a little bit thinner. So maybe that's because the VSJ maybe put a little bit more thickness or pulp in there. Yeah, I mean, definitely cherry juice. Tart cherries are the best of juice. They have the highest antioxidants. This cherry juice was not super sweet. You know, the cherries to me look pretty good, but I didn't check their bricks, so I don't really know. But nonetheless, I would encourage you guys to eat your cherries. Although I sell the juicers and would love to sell you guys one of these Omega juicers to juice the cherries. And if you want to get the best Omega juicer to juice the cherries, in my opinion, that is the VSJ 843 with 15-year warranty. And provided you juice cherries one at a time, like I showed you in this video, you guys shouldn't have any problems. If you guys enjoy this episode, me juicing cherries in these two Omega juicers and showing you guys the best juicer to juice the cherries, I would encourage you guys to support me in my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. This allows me to directly continue to make this educational video and many other educational videos on YouTube for you guys, which I enjoy. So I want to thank you guys in advance for those of you guys that will purchase from me in the future, and I want to thank you guys for those of you guys that have purchased from me in the past. Other dealers of juicers simply do not make videos juicing cherries, spending, you know, 20 minutes cleaning them, 10 minutes taking off the stems, and another 12 minutes juicing them and explaining, you know, why and how to do it. So I hope you guys do appreciate this, and I hope you guys do support me. If you guys enjoyed this episode juicing cherries, and I try to juice a lot of different weird produce items, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. This will encourage me to do more videos where I'm juicing a lot of different weird items that are not maybe normally thought of as being able to juice in some of these new amazing juicing technology we have now in this day and age. Also be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on any of my new and upcoming episodes. I'm coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know what juicer, blender, or dehydrator I'll be testing and sharing with you guys some of the latest and newest technology that allows you to process foods in your kitchen like never before. Also be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 450 videos on this channel at this time dedicated to teach you guys about all the different juicers, blenders, and dehydrators and other kitchen appliances that allow you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables and get them into you so you can be healthier. Also be sure to share this video with somebody else that wants to juice cherries to show you guys that it is possible in one of these vertical juicers. And once again, I don't recommend juicing cherries in any other vertical juicer because it may or may not work, and if it doesn't work, then your juicer probably won't be covered under warranty. But Omega has some of the best warranty practices in the industry and will take care of you if the machine breaks during juicing cherries and you're juicing them one at a time like I showed you in this episode. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.